Now today, it's time for a professional match of StarCraft 2. It's time for a Zerg versus Protoss, and I know that I did a Zerg versus Protoss just like 2 days ago, and generally speaking, I tried to leave a little bit more time between the different matchups, but honestly, this may as well be an entirely different game, because then it was time for Blythe versus Hearthstone. Now I say that, and apparently our blue Zerg here, even though he's not really known to cheese a whole lot, he does decide to open up with a spawning pool as his very first structure. We'll talk about that a little more in just a second, because playing here with the blue Zerg drones from Italy, we have Reynor. His opponent in the opposite corner, already actually, he sent out a probe pretty early on as well. With the red Protoss probes from Germany, he goes by the name of ShoWTimE. Alrighty, now, opening up with a 12th spawning pool, so basically you don't build anything at the very beginning of the game and you just go straight into a spawning pool. Now this is a little bit cheeky. It is a little bit cheesy, but it's actually a build that can also keep you safe against a lot of early game shenanigans that Protosses like to throw at you. Obviously, we saw Blythe go for the variant where you also follow it up with like a hatchery instead of your opponent's wall-off. I mean, in case you didn't see that video, I'll go ahead and post a link to it down below in the description of this one. Right now, ShoWTimE knows what's going on, by the way. The drone is still hiding out here. So he sent the drone out at a reasonably early time just to still pretend like he was going to go for a 16 hatch on the low ground and then pretend that he was going to be heading on over to the third base instead. ShoWTimE did check the main, so he knows exactly what's happening. Will Reynor decide to go after this pylon? He indeed will with 2 Zerglings. But already the pylon has been cancelled, so he should be able to start up the hatchery here very shortly. Now, what exactly is the defense going to be like? ShoWTimE actually decides to not go for a second gateway. That seems a little bit greedy to me. Okay, alright, I guess it will be fine. Gotta go for a second, It depends, right? Normally, Zerg players will go for about 10 Zerglings in these kind of openings. And then they will go back to droning. So indeed, ShoWTimE is gonna be forced to pull a couple of probes from the mineral line. Seems most people, it seems that most people favor going for a second gateway and then chrono boost out a couple of adepts as well as that cybercore finishes. But I guess ShoWTimE is okay with this for now. He's gonna instead follow this up with a faster Nexus here on the low ground. Obviously, if either the gateway or the cybercore falls, that's gonna be a massive hit, especially the cybercore. A nice little bit of control here. Reynor wants to get the wraparound. He wants to go for a run by, but ShoWTimE is not allowing it so far. He will attempt one more time, I think. Okay. He's gonna be able to get maybe one of those zealots, but already, yeah. With the adept out right now, I don't think this is gonna deal too much damage. Okay. Nice defense right there by ShoWTimE. Bit of a gamble. I think the safer approach is to go for the second gateway and then also that cybercore as a follow-up. Then 2 or 4 adepts, so you can deal some counter-attack pressure as well. But Dimawa, once again, knows exactly what he needs to defend. Feels confident in his control. Apparently just needed to put a couple of probes on idle there to help out with the defense. But yeah, he lost nothing, really. I mean, a couple of Zerglings obviously ended up going down, and we did see that that one zealot falling as well, but other than that, I mean, that was very clean. So the nice advantage, of course, is that he can now play this out relatively normally. Now, I was gonna say, maybe ShoWTimE will decide to go for, say, a Stargate at this point, but instead he decides to add on 2 additional gateways. So, I wish actually one of those gateways was planted right over here or so, just so the pylon isn't part of the wall-off, but yeah, this can definitely deal some damage. I guess what he's gonna do is just warp in a couple of adepts. Even without the Glaives upgrade, which he may very well get here shortly as well, they can still actually deal quite a bit of damage. Warp Gate is done early. Yeah, he's been chrono boosting it as well. This is kind of neat, actually. Okay. So 12 pool into a triple gate prox, or triple gate pressure, rather. Not something we normally see. There we go. Yeah, a couple adepts. Nice. So obviously with a build like this, Zerg is not going to be able to get their spawning pool to upgrade that metabolic boost research nearly as early as normal, right? So he's decided to go for a third base right now. I actually really like this response here by ShoWTimE. It's maybe a little bit risky. I mean, Glaives start up right now, but that upgrade won't be done here for a while. In case you're wondering, that's an upgrade that improves the attack speed here of these adepts. Adepts deal bonus damage against light units, like for example Zerglings. They're weak against roaches, they're weak against banelings, they're weak against, well, a bunch of other stuff as well. But they're going to be pretty fantastic right here, I think, for now. I mean, without link speed. Okay. I wonder if you want to commit. Honestly, it's hard to say. Nah, it's just 5 adepts. It's not quite enough. Either way, even just forcing out Zergling production right now is fine. Obviously, Protoss can make both drones, or probes rather, and units at the same time. He's going to try and get the kill on this base? Is that going to happen? I mean, maybe it will. He's not gonna... No, he's not gonna shade. I don't think so. Queens have been pulled away as well from the mineral line. Overlord will scout out exactly what's happening, so I think Reynor... Ooh, he did not actually. Okay. He was looking for the tech structure, but he just barely did not go far enough. Alright, well, link speed is done. I don't think the third base is gonna go down, but this actually could become a bit of a problem, because just pure Zergling against Glaive Adept, not great. Now, Glaives is not done yet. Yeah, oh my god. Without Glaives, these Adepts are not nearly as powerful. Still think this is not so bad of a trade, though, for the Protoss player. Yeah, 3 Adepts only. Ugh. 39 Zerglings so far. And this is, I think, a good example as to why the 12 pool is not necessarily the best build to play at the pro level. I think it's good to mix in like a series of games, right? I mean, Serral has been doing it quite a bit. Especially on the smaller maps, it can be super powerful. But ShoWTimE is showing us how you can obtain an advantage from here. Because he's already right now at 50 probes versus 38 drones. And he's actually the one being the aggressor. That never really happens. It's pretty much always the defensive player that will have more workers available. That being said, a couple Banelings are available right now as well as for the Zerg player from Italy. And he's going to be able to pick off most of those Adepts relatively pain-free right now, all things considered. Immediately, he holds down the drone button. Already, though, the third Nexus has been started up. And our German Protoss here, despite taking those Banelings to the face, is looking mighty powerful. The thing is, Adepts, having them in the mid-game is fine. You can keep them around, I suppose. They can definitely help out a little bit. They can soak some damage, but they're usually not the best unit to have, right? It's mostly, I guess it's just there to soak some damage a little while later on into the game. They're good right now at defending the third base, but as the armies grow, they really do lose their value, even with the Glaives upgrade. So the follow-up right now from ShoWTimE is going to be Charge first and foremost. So Zealots with Charge are obviously fantastic. There's a Templar Archives in here as well. There's always a Robo facility, of course, too. So he's going to be able to get that Robo production here going very shortly. That Immortal production, that is. He already is producing, I suppose, with a Warp Prism. But I'm assuming he's going to go into Immortal here very shortly as well. Alrighty, so good old Archon Immortal Zealot with Storm. Not to be underestimated. Very nice all-round unit composition for Protoss. It does have weaknesses, of course, but I mean, most of those weaknesses won't really come up until later. For example, Spire play can be a bit of a pain. Right, a couple Mutas flapping around your bases. The thing is, if you're not opening up Stargate, your army is just much slower, so you're not really going to be able to get it around your bases as easily. That said, though, I mean, Reynor has been delayed so much. Yeah, he was even anticipating what seems to be like an all-in. But right now he sees, okay, wait a second. This is indeed just a proper third base. He's going to go into the Roach Warren right now. The lair is done finally, but yeah, there's really no threat of Mutas here anytime soon. And ShoWTimE is looking very strong so far. Alrighty. Now, of course, Reynor is one of the best Zerg players on the planet for very good reason. We'll see how he's going to try and claw himself back into the game. He does decide to go for the Spire. Okay. Interesting. So, 2 Archons inside of the Prism right now. I think these are going to be heading indeed, yeah, towards the main base. And then the rest of the army might push over here. Ugh. There's still some Banelings available as well. The Queens are ready too. Losing the Prism here obviously would be a disaster. Now, nice little warp in. Queens are going to take a while, though, to work on this. So, I don't think this is going to get too much work done. Should be able to pick up the... no, maybe not. No, he's not going to be able to pick that up. At the same time, though, the army pressed forward over here, and they managed to force the council down on the 4th base. So despite the fact that only one of the Archons was saved and a bunch of Zealots ended up going down as well inside of the main base, ShoWTimE got what he came for. He pushed with the other half of his army, killed the 4th base, and, well, right now, I mean, we all know this scenario very well, right? Whenever Protoss is out-expending and outpacing the Zerg, that is a situation where you want to be. As a Protoss player, anyway. Not as a Zerg. Not as a Zerg. Now, Mutas are real nice. He's been saving up some minerals and gas over here, Reynor, that is. So, he should be able to produce about 9 of them right as the Spire finishes. There we go. This is something that I believe is unscouted for now. Yeah, that Spire was not spotted. And when we look at the anti-air that's available right now here for the Protoss player, it's really mostly the Archons. The problem is that the Archons are also really big and they tend to get stuck on structures. Now, good hallucinated Phoenix Scout right there. ShoWTimE certainly picked up on that Spire. Immediately starts up a Stargate here. Okay, he's already got some static defense instead of his mineral lines too. He's going to double up on that, so 2 photon cannons everywhere. I mean, Blink is going to be started up here right away too. I think ShoWTimE has everything going for him right now. That being said, though, oop, Prism. Oh, just barely recalls and out of there, too. Corrosive Bile was about to connect. A couple of Zealots over here, apparently. Walked into the natural expansion of the Zerg. And this is all coming off of that 12 pool, right? When the 12 pool is well defended, this is the kind of scenario that you can find yourself in. Now, Reynor at this point is very far ahead when it comes to the supply count, but it can be a little bit deceiving, I suppose. Prism is going to attempt going... Oh my god. If he's going to micro Archons out of a low HP Prism, that's a bit of a gamble. But these units are going to be just fine. Roaches at the same time have moved out as well. Reynor's going to try and see if he can come in from multiple different angles, while potentially doing some harassment here with those Mutas still. I think this is just fine though here, yeah. Good defense here. Dodges those Corrosive Biles once more. Mutas decide to go back into the main. There's already a Phoenix out. I mean... He's not doubling down on the Muta production, right? So I don't think ShoWTimE really has to go into a whole lot of Phoenixes there either. Ends up Corrosive Biling his own stuff because of those circles. But Dimawa, once again, shows us why he's known as the Wall. He's very, very good at just simply defending in these kind of scenarios. It's a slippery slope, though. Once these Zerg units start breaking through and they start, you know, jumping on top of this army, it's certainly something that can catch you off guard as a Protoss player. Sentries move on over here as well, so they have force fields available if they really want to push this army back. Additional static defense has been added on. Oh, beautiful force fields there by the German Protoss. Awesome job. All right, yeah, you're not going to break that. In the meantime, though, Reynor did manage to get himself that 5th base up and running. He's just mining the gases there. At the very least, that signals to me that he wants to stick around on Roach Ravager for a while longer, more than likely. Just add on a lot of Ravagers, try and see if he can win. But I don't really see ShoWTimE rolling over here. Okay. He's going to continue trying, though. Corrosive Biles will be utilized here as well to pop those force fields. Battery overcharge there. With that shield battery in the back, it's going to keep a lot of those Protoss units alive for quite some time. Reynor does get the concave. Interestingly enough, I love this actually by ShoWTimE. He decided to produce one Void Ray here, which is super annoying. Corrosive Biles aren't going to connect on that, but the Queens have now also been pushed towards the front, so they're going to be able to transfuse these low HP Zerg units back up to full, and they're also going to help out when it comes to that anti-air. Still, though, this concave right now is in favor of the Protoss player, who's desperately dodging all of the Corrosive Biles. Insane. I'm pretty sure I've seen more Corrosive Biles connect on Zerg units than on Protoss. Pretty awesome job here. Once again, good force fields. Ends up warping in additional sentries here all the time. More and more shield batteries are coming up. Reynor's desperately trying to push through this, but I don't think it's happening, man. As a follow-up right now, we also do see that Robotics Bay. Second Robo facility is what I believe I saw as well, so that's really nicely done. No, actually, there's only one. Okay, well, I think he's going to be producing Disruptors here that are obviously fantastic when it comes to pushing back this sort of army. Reynor, though, still 50 supply up. Really nicely done. He's got himself 80 workers at this point, too. Hey, you know what? Despite this pretty awful start for him, he's actually, making a really solid game out of this. I don't think he's going to be able to win with this push anymore. Although he apparently thinks otherwise. No, I don't see it happening, really. Especially now with Disruptors coming up. +3 in the forts, too. A couple of Zealots apparently have been warped in over here, forcing some of that Zerg army to retreat. Maybe some of the reinforcements. Well, he does once again actually break through this position right now. It's just so many shield batteries, right? 5 shield batteries, you're not going to kill that. Purification Nova is available, and there it is. Well, I mean, there it almost was. Almost ended up killing a ton of those Zerg Roach Ravager, but... Not quite, not quite. Alright. Can he land the Corrosive Biles there, maybe? Nope. ShoWTimE is on point with that as well. Prison will stay alive for at least a little while longer. Almost a very short amount of time, but... Alright. Now, during all of this, right, we now see 6 base Zerg. Protoss is gonna have a hard time securing this 5th. The problem is that this location over here is pretty well defendable because of all of those shield batteries, right? But, this expansion over here is gonna be harder. We do now also see a bunch of roaches making a beeline for that location. Yeah, Reynor is setting up what seems to be a bit of a soft contain on 4 bases. Okay, Purification Nova does get thrown forward there. These roaches were just here for a distraction, much like those Zealots were warped in the main base earlier. If ShoWTimE cannot secure a 5th base, he's gonna start running low on money, right? Main and natural already are starting to run pretty low. Third base already not fully saturated anymore either. Or I guess overly saturated already at this point, rather. Alright, very impressive game here by Reynor. I think many of us would have already been in a lot of trouble here. Purification Nova once again gets thrown forward, gets one Baneling. Speaking of Banelings, those apparently are going to be added in, into the mix again. He does have the Centrifugal Hooks upgrade now. Once again, goes a Purification Nova. There's a ton of Banelings coming in from the back as well. They're trying to connect with as many of those Stalkers as they can. A lot of the Stalkers are running dangerously low. Right now, Reynor is reinforcing this with mostly Zerglings, and Zerglings obviously are fantastic at everything that remains right now for the Protoss. Good split once again. Only grabs a couple of those Ravagers. Corrosive Vials are going to connect with the Prism, and that one will also be picked off. At the same time, a couple Zealots are going to try and create a distraction over here, and I think it's working. Reynor would probably love to continue pushing forward towards that 5th base of the Protoss, but these Zealots need to be cleaned up first. Those Banelings coming in from every angle. So sick. Alrighty. Upon spotting, though, that this is indeed going to be a Ling Bane transition now from Reynor, a couple additional Archons will be warped in. 5th base is going to finish up. Would have loved to see some additional static defense here planted down a little bit sooner. Corrosive Vials will connect there with the Immortal. Okay. Is that another Prism? No, that's the Phoenixes. Okay. The 2 Phoenixes that we saw ages ago. Yeah, if he can deny this, though, that would be fantastic. Now, once again, the Banelings are coming in from the left. Purification Novas are rolling forward as well. This time around, Reynor does not get the connections that he's looking for. Still has a lot of transfuses, or sorry, a lot of reinforcements coming up. Love the fact, actually, that the Phoenix right now lifts up one of those Ravagers as well. I guess every single little bit counts. What a ridiculous battle. This has been an absolute bloodbath so far of a Zerg versus Protoss. My god, are these guys good. All right. ShoWTimE stands tall. He secures that 5th base. Would not even mind seeing him attempt to take a base over here in the top left-hand corner as well. I think, yeah, Reynor is thinking the same thing. Runs a Zergling in that direction just to make sure that there's no 6th expansion being acquired for free. Reynor has decided to now go for his, what is that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 base himself. Counting in a YouTube video, man. Never do it. Not even once. It's a bad idea. Oh, Disruptor coming in from the side! Oh, beautiful. He's like, you can flank with Banelings? Watch this. Hold my beer. I can do it with Disruptors. Let's go bowling together. Turns out Reynor doesn't like bowling. Maybe it's because of the social distancing, and all of a sudden this army actually gets thrashed. Now hold up. So while that army is being taken care of by the Protoss player, we do see Reynor morphing in a couple of Banelings, and they're gonna be heading on over towards the 3rd base here of the Protoss player. Looks like they don't have +2 melee, so they're not gonna be able to one-shot those probes, but I don't think it matters, because there is indeed gonna be enough to clean up most of that. Nicely done. So despite the fact that Reynor loses most of his army, at the very least he does get a nice bit of eco damage done. A couple of Zealots over here are trying to see if they can potentially kill the base. I don't know if it's going to happen just yet, but Reynor is going to need a lot more reinforcements to deal with this Protoss force. The drones indeed decide to evacuate on out of there. A couple of Zerglings even that were ready to go for a run-by also now move back home. 19 Banelings are being morphed in, and the Queens once again pulled away from their hatcheries just to try and help out in the defense. ShoWTimE, though, doesn't really seem to care. Okay, couple units. Don't know if you want to be blinking forward there, to be honest. Couple units get picked off for free. Yeah, that Disruptor coming in from the side was fantastic. I love Disruptor flanks, man. I love watching them, just to clarify. Hate playing against them, though. Banelings once again, ready to go in for the 4th base this time around. Nice attempt there by Reynor, but this one is not gonna connect. One Zergling will be able to finish off one pesky probe that went all the way towards the top left-hand corner to acquire the 6th. Reynor's already been happily mining this 6 bases, or these 6 bases for a while. It looks once again that ShoWTimE is ready to go for a push. He's gotta be careful though, there are a lot of Banelings here available. Those Banelings want to connect with the Zealots. The Zealots though realize what's going on. They get selected and they run backwards. Oh, Purification Nova connects with one of the Stalkers. Not quite what you want to have happen, but with most of the Banelings right now taken care of, those Zealots can join in the fray once again as well. And I think that means that Reynor is going to end up losing another one of these bases. Alrighty. And these connections are looking real good, right? And one of the things, of course, that those Disruptors do is that they buy a lot of time. They buy a lot of time, and the rest of the Protoss units cleared out that base just fine. Transfuses will go down to try and save some of those queens, but I don't think there's going to be enough right now. These queens will certainly be picked off too, and with that, no more injections on these bases, at least for a little bit. I don't think the larva production really is much of an issue at this point here for Reynor, but this is not looking good. Top left-hand base being acquired here. There's only a couple of Stalkers to defend, so Zerglings technically could head on over in that direction, but I mean, Zerglings require a lot of larva, and he doesn't have that much of that anymore. Oof. Okay. I missed it just barely there, but apparently a couple Banelings once again managed to roll into the mineral line. Zerglings will be spotted in the top left-hand corner as well, but small amounts of links, not that scary. Mostly just a troop of scouting units. Dude, those Phoenixes that were made to deal with the frickin' Mutas are still helping out. Fantastic. Really, really, really cool. Alrighty, honestly, I think what you do right now if you're ShoWTimE is just breathe for a little bit. You just sit back here for a second and you try your very best to make one really strong death ball. Zerg is not going to be able to put on a lot of counter pressure here. Normally, Zerg plays this kind of Roach Ravager Ling Bane style off of like 90+ workers. Reynor never even got close to that in this game. So these traits, I mean, they're all going to be fantastic here for the Protoss. Yeah, look at that. So tons of resources here lost for the Zerg player. And even though you might say that's kind of comparable, we see this a lot in other games as well. The thing is, in this particular case, right, Reynor has not been out-mining his opponent. So if you're not out-mining the opponent, you gotta make sure that you get in efficient traits. By the way, one thing he never researched is Psionic Storm. Isn't that fascinating? I feel like Psionic Storm would be really good here, but apparently ShoWTimE's like, nah, my opponent's too good. Just gonna micro against that. It's not gonna land, I'm not gonna be able to land the Storm, so. A couple of Banelings trying to see if they can potentially roll by. I think Reynor's gonna need a big Baneling hit, actually, on a mineral line if he wants to come back into this. Because ShoWTimE right now is outpacing his opponent pretty hard. And like I said, the efficiency right here of the Protoss army is not gonna get any worse. Archons especially, of course, fantastic when it comes to dealing with Banelings. Actually, a bunch of Zealots right now flank this army from the left. Reynor ends up losing a bunch more of those Ravagers for pretty much free. Not anticipating that. Oh, that move once more. Great connection there by the German Protoss. Apparently, though, while that was going on, once again, a few Banelings roll forward here, and they're gonna be able to connect in that mineral line. Nicely done. Reynor is fighting tooth and nail here, but I'm looking at this Protoss army, and I think it might just be a little bit too strong. Okay, Banelings will be able to connect. Yeah, they nerfed Banelings a couple times, right? And it's very noticeable in these kind of battles. There's a reason why we don't really see a Roach Ravager Ling Bane that often anymore. Archons just, they can take so many to the face. Phenomenal game, though. That was awesome. So I'm mostly curious. Okay, in total, apparently 69 Ravagers have gone down. I mean, I would say that's pretty nice, but as a Zerg player, that's... Anyways, I hope that you enjoyed watching today's YouTube video. In case you're unfamiliar, I upload to this YouTube channel Monday through Saturday. So if you want to see more, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below. If you enjoyed watching it, hit that like button. If you didn't like it, feel free to hit the dislike button. Guilt-free, that's totally fine. But for now, I want to thank you for watching. Have an awesome day. Don't forget to smile. And I'll see you once again in the next one.